Good evening and welcome to the Kaplan Center for tonight's women's volleyball match. It's the final conference game of the season, and the Maritime Privateers are in town to play your Mount St. Mary College Knights for a Skyline Conference clash. As always, my name is Bob Hauk, and I'll be on the call on my lonesome for this Wednesday evening volleyball action. So this is the last conference game of the year, not the last game of the year, so you guys won't lose me just yet. Might be unfortunate for some, but I know some of you are so sad that I will be leaving sometime soon, though we've been through quite a journey together. So the Knights, from my rough math, should have a playoff spot clinched. I'm unsure, though. The Knights 6-4 in conference, number 6 in the conference, facing off against the Maritime Privateers, 3-7 in conference, number 8. So the Knights hold the last playoff spot. The only team behind them, St. Joe's Brooklyn, is 5-3 per the moment. 5-5. I apologize. So we are off and rolling. So an overserve to get us started here. Swing up and over the top, dug up by the Knights. Swing for Simone, she takes a rip, that gets dug. Potential free ball here for the Knights, see what they do with it. Right down Broadway to Lavelle, deflected and out. So a point right off rip for Brooke, Lavelle and company, and we are rolling. So some commiserating from the blue shirts. Happy Alzheimer's Awareness Night as well. Figure I'll mention that while we're at the top of the key. So Sophia Fredericks checks in, far right of your screen. She will serve the ball. A little bit of a different lineup tonight from Coach Kellum and crew. Left-handed swing up and over the top, deflected. Knights will have a chance. Williams backdoor, she takes a rip, that gets deflected. We'll try it again. Tipped up and over the top, not quite enough. Addison Weiss, the team's kill leader, looks for a tip over the top. Can't quite get enough juice on it. And that's a double advantage for the Knights. So Ava Robles starting tonight for the Knights. Not a frequent starter, though. Love to see some new faces in the lineup. Set taken by the outside hitter to the outside hitter to the opposite hitter. It gets full blocked by the Knights. There we go. I'm catching up. All right. Got a little off key because I was trying to lay out the playoff landscape, and then the game started. So apologies for my unprofessionalism. Lurking ball up top, gets swung out the back of the end zone. Pavarini just a little bit too much juice on it. Privateers hiding a setter, Michaela Teal in the back. See what she does here. Puts one up top. Privatini gets it dug. Williams is going to swing. She takes a rip. That gets deflected out the back of the court. It's off to a hot start. Some gritties coming from the sideline of the Knights. You love to see them so active on a Wednesday night. Not a whole ton of people in Kaplan, though all of us are here in spirit. Some fans might have got dragged out to the women's soccer game. Semifinal matchup against Mount St. Vincent. Good luck, ladies. Last I checked, we were winning 1-0, so that's huge. Fredericks with a pretty set. A heavy swing from Simone gets sidewinded out the back side of the court. There we are. So Maritime a much stronger serving team than the Knights. Average 3 service aces a set. See how that'll shake out for the Knights as we get deeper into the set. Up top, gets tipped over. Pavarini got snuffed out. Williams are going to swing. She lets one rip, and she's going to find some court. It's a 6-1 your scoreline here early. The Knights are off and rolling. So Simone will step up onto the service line. Pink lace is still intertwined with her blue and white sneakers. Nicolette Pirro checked in on the front row, so we'll get some more faces getting worked in here. A tough serve, an awkward one. A swing over the top. That's a strange one. That's going to fall down for a kill. Grace Devaney gets herself a roll shot to fall down for the point. So 6-2 is your score. Got to keep you guys updated at all times. So Alexa Nolan checking in here. Neon pink shoes on the far left of your screen. She will be given maintenance of the rock, and she'll resume us. Line drive, line fault. Stepped over the line just a tad bit much with those flamboyant sneakers, and that's going to find a 7-2 advantage for the Knights. So Aaron Lehman will step to the island for the service. The all-blue get-up, far right of your screen. Couldn't already tell from context clues, the Knights in white and blue on your right, Maritime in blue and white on your left. Commiserating from the referees. And we are back underway. An awkward jump serve. Gets sidewinded straight into the nylon. Seems to be she got the timing just a bit off there. Pavarino steps to the line, the team's leader in service aces. She averages .92 a set. So almost service ace a set in conference. Williams gets up there. She swings and she gets blocked. Devaney there all the way. Returns it to sender. And in the realm of blocking, the Knights almost triple Maritime's blocks total. The Knights 125 in the year, Maritime 55. Pirro takes a rip, gets blocked again. That gets over the top. Potential free ball. Swing up and over the top, another looping one. Gets dug out this time. Right down Broadway to Descala. Gets deflected down and in for a point. So Devaney looked to try and loop one over the top again. Knights snuffed it out this time. They said no more nonsense. So Janai Williams to the island. Her left-handed swing. She'll resume us in just a moment. Far right of your screen. Heavy service to the back. That's an awkward one. That's going to fall down for a service ace. Straight off of Devaney's fingers. Some emotes on the right side and another point for the Knights. They're rolling midway through the set. Another deep one. Back row swing. Gets blocked straight back down by Descala and in for a point. Descala snuffs out Pavarini's back row swing. And the Privateers can't quite get it back over the net. So some impressive stuff from the wall of the mount so far. The white and blue arms making themselves known. A line drive gets overpassed. Descala wins the joust, not quite. Devaney gets a swing. That gets dug well. Right down Broadway to Descala. She tried to push it over. Doesn't quite get the point. So Descala trying to speed things up. Doesn't quite get what she was looking for. Pollock and Lehman to check in here. Devaney with a line drive. Lehman passes it well. Way outside of Pirro. She lets one rip. That's overpassed just a tad bit. Creative dump. Gets snuffed out. Pirro again. Lets another one rip. Falls down for a point. Pirro back at it with that vicious swing of hers. Gets herself a kill and gets herself to the service spot. The first year, a very creative outside hitter. Finds herself all sorts of ways to score. That line shot, vicious. If I may find lack for better words. An awkward serve to the back. It's punched around. A free ball here for the Knights. See what they do with this. Simone gets a tip over the top. A little bit of a thrown-away free ball and an miscommunication on the Privateer side. So they had themselves a chance to conjure their own free ball, and the pass just got booted. It happens to the best of us. 12 to 5 is your score. Pirro still stands on her own. Jump serve, line drive, straight off of a shoulder for a service ace. Some dance moves on the right side. That never gets old. So a timeout from the Privateers. 13 to 5 is your score line as we'll take a 60-second break. We'll be right back after this. So we're resuming ourselves from the timeout. Buzzer should go in just a moment. There it is. So Coach John Donahue, his third season, trying to rally the troops. Find themselves out from an 8-point deficit. Nicolette Piro, the first year, still with the ball. She gets the signal. She serves the ball. And another service ace straight out of the ice. As cool as you'd like, you won't stop her. 14-5 is the score. Another jump serve to the back. That gets past this time. Way out wide, gets rolled over the top. Knights will get a chance at it. Simone gets a rip. She hits one straight into the floorboards. Right down the eyes. Juliana Simone finds herself a kill. Pierre on a little bit of a run here. Hits herself another service. That gets shanked up high. A miscommunication, another service ace. As sweet as pie, she's found herself on that service spot for quite some time. So the lead ballooning to 11 points. Another line drive, an awkward service. Free ball over the top, see what the Knights do with this one. Way out wide, Simone's on an island. She lets one rip off and over the top. Teal couldn't quite seal the block. Simone finds herself barbecue chicken. So, an almost immediate timeout here from Donahue. Oh, Donahue, I apologize. I want to get the name wrong. So, another 60 seconds. You won't lose me. Just that easily. So, the Mount followed a 3-0 loss last Saturday to Sarah Lawrence. Not many good things the girls told me about that one, so I won't lull over it too long. Maritime follows a 3-0 win over Yeshiva not too long ago. So I believe this is Maritime's last game. I don't think I saw any others on their schedule for the year. And for anyone keeping up with the soccer game of the Mount St. Vincent, who was the hosts of this matchup, we are on the road. They have tied at 1-1. So 1-1's your score on the road playoff game. 17-5 is your score here for the Knights volleyball game. The Knights not quite finished with the year. They'll have a tri-match this Saturday against New Jersey City College, I think it's called, and John Jay College. I'll be on the call for both of those, so you'll get a doubleheader and lots of my voice on Saturday. So we'll resume here. Nicolette Piro still on the island. She is on a heater as the buzzer interrupts my thoughts. So she'll reset herself and we'll get back underway. Deep ball. Shake straight up over the top. Catch her if you can. You won't. The ice does not work for a second time. Nicolette Piro keeps just trucking through the mud. 18-5 is your score. Another great service. That gets pushed well over the top. A free ball here. See what the Knights do with this. An awkward one gets put into a great spot. Up and over the top for Descala. She tips it. Weiss gets a swing. That gets dug well. An impressive dig. A very good hit. Gets called for something. An infraction of some sort on Maritime leaves the point for the Knights. So Weiss got called for something. I don't know what it was. Another service ace from Piro. Oh my goodness. Almost yanked my audio box off the table in excitement there. I will have to see the stats on this. She has to be on at least 6 service aces, if not more. The girl's on fire. Another great service. That gets passed well. A tip up over the top gets snuffed out all the way. Straight up and runs out for Descala. The senior not one to be left out of the action gets a heavy swing up and over the middle here. 21-5 is your score. The Knights are running away. Excitement continues to build on the Knights side. Piro once again drops a deep one and finally finds a service error. So after an ungodly run, The girl will take a break. They will sub in Ava Robles on the back line. That will send the libero, Joan Unastisadis. Tipped over the top from the sky. Gets a point. So lots of laughs and lots of fun here from the Knights side. 22-6 is your scoreline. Aubriana Boyce on the line for the service. Drops one in for no-touch service ace. Loops just into the open flooring there. Gets herself a point. Brooke Lavelle also back on the line, so quite a tall lineup here for the Knights. Another no-touch service ace, back-to-back, up and over the top, finds some more floorboards. The set point here. Boyce serves one. Ball gets put around, and another service ace. So a service error leads to the set win for the Knights. 1-0 is the scoreline. 25-6 is your final here. We'll switch sides. Wow. So I talked about the service of Maritime. They have a better serving total this year for service aces than the Knights, though the Knights had at least 10-plus service aces that set. So the Knights are out of control right now. The mistakes of Maritime stacking up just a little bit too much, though. We'll get into it a bit more in just a few minutes. They'll take a break, and I will take a break. So I'll see you guys soon. Don't go anywhere. 1-0 Knights is your score. So we're coming out of the timeout here. O'Donohue and crew commiserating. They'll resume the court in just a moment. The Knights are already in position. Knights with 8 service aces in that first set. That's a whole lot for those at home who don't know. Juliana Simone leading the charge with 4 kills for that first set. Descala right behind her with 3. So lineup's been checked for the Knights. Kenny's firing her girls up. She's just checked in, the libero. The lineup will be checked for Maritime. We should be underway in just a moment. For anyone interested at home, while we are in a little bit of a lull, the women's soccer game is still 1-1. Figure I got to keep up with everything because I commentated all the women's soccer games this year, along with all these volleyball games. So the Knights will start with the ball. Sophia Fredericks, far left of your screen, will start with it. So number 12 and company will get us underway. And it's time to party. So good service, gets passed well up top. Gets dug well. Simone will get a swing. She takes a deep one. That gets passed awkwardly and a kill. So Weiss took a good swing. It got passed well by the Knights. And Simone got a chance, and she did not let it go. She's not going to do that often. Mackenzie Wormuth on the front line now. She'll get herself an opportunity to hopefully get some stats, some sort of call. A service, an incorrect positioning call was called on the Knights front line, I think. So you can change where you're standing, but only so far. It does get very confusing, though. So the Knights hiding a setter. Weiss with the service. Williams going to swing and down for a kill. So she gets a waterfall default. Despite any confusing rule calls here, we are 2-1 up. Simone will have the service. Far left of your screen. So it's had a bit of a slower start here. Of course, never a bad thing when you're still winning anyways. Great set up top. That gets deflected. See what the Knights do with this. Out wide to Piro. She takes a rip. That's going to fall down for a point. So Pavarini got dug, and Piro said, give me all of that and some. So the young lady continues her tear after her unbelievable service streak on the first set. Ball skims over the tape, finds its way on the Maritime side. Ball gets dug up. Devaney cannot quite find one over the top. Williams will get a swing. That gets dug. Top to Devaney again. She lets one rip. That's out of bounds. So Devaney looking for the line on her second go-around. Doesn't quite get the cash back she wanted. The Knights keeping everything and some debt. Maybe interest. Interest is the better word, I guess. An impressive back set there. Gets trickled around. Pavarini gets herself a swing over the top for the kill. So Michaela Teal looking quite smooth there with the slide steps and back sets and all sorts of crazy stuff. Trying to keep her girls in the game. 4-2 is your score line. Lizzie Phillips on the line for the service. The 5'7" outside hitter leads her team in blocks. As in the meantime, a miscommunication lets the ball fall to the floor. So 4-3. Game is 1 point away. 0 lead changes, 0 tie scores in our previous match. So obviously very different outlook on, or not match, first set. So very different look on the second set. There we go. I had to organize myself. Williams gets a swing. That gets shot into the ceiling. That's going to come on the side of the Knights, and that's the point for the Knights. So if the ball touches the ceiling and falls into the opponent's side, that's automatically the opponent's ball. So 5-3, Aaron Lima's on the line. All blue get up, far left of your screen. I try to direct parts of screens because I'm not sure how much our camera actually covers because we have one stationary camcorder. So knock her ball, push around. Weiss rolled one over the top. Williams will get a swing. She lets one rip. That gets trickled around. Devaney will get a swing. She lets one eat. That gets dug well. Piro will get a chance. She lets one rip. That gets blocked. Pavarini there all the way. Finds a point. And puts herself onto the line for the service. Awkward service. Straight on the line. No touch service ace. Pavarini, the team's leading haver for service aces, finds herself another one. So 5-5. A tie score here. Awkward one for the Knights. Piro will get a swing. She lets one rip. Straight off the hands of the libero. Piro gets herself a kill. Let me try this one. Unasti Siadis. Unasti Siadis. There we go. The libero of Maritime. Trying my best. That is quite a name. Shout out to Joan. So Williams with the service. That gets sidewinded. That'll be a free ball. See what the Knights do here. Right down Broadway to Descala. She shoves one over the top. That gets snuffed out. Teal with a pretty set. Devaney tried to roll one over the top again. Didn't quite find the line. Joan Unasti Ciadis. Wow, my God. Last conference game of the year, you'd really find one 1 and 2. So Williams with a laser beam into the net. Finds nothing but nylon. 7-6 is your score. I'm not seeing it the other way around. Devaney finds herself on the line for the service. And straight back into the nylon. 8-6. The Knights hold their advantage. Shapiro, last set's MVP, finds herself on the service line. Jim quiets down. Another jump serve. That gets shot almost into the roof. Weiss will get a chance at it. She tips one over the top. That gets snuffed out. Great positioning by the Knights. Williams take a swing. That'll hit nothing but tape. So 8-7 is your score. Maritime not going away. Robles checks in on the back line. Service gets passed around by the Knights. Potential free ball for Maritime. An awkward spot. Immediately swung over the top. So Phillips elected to take the swing while Teal was trying to get the set. So miscommunication. And the swing ended up out the back in the end zone. So no fair catch in volleyball. That's going to leave the ball for the Knights. Aubriana Boyce back to the line. Kellum certainly flexing the depth of her bench compared to Maritime's 4 players on theirs. Though despite that, Maritime gets themselves a tip up over the top. Weiss finds herself a kill. 9-8 your score. Definitely more of a shootout here in the second set than we had in the first one. Teal with the service. Drops down low. Robles picks it up. Simone with a heavy swing. That gets shot up. Weiss will get another swing. She'll let one eat. That's going to fall down for the kill. Maritime's kill leader, who has certainly exceeded 200 today, so congratulations for the first year, finding us into a 9-9 tie. Teal back to the service line. Gets shot around, an awkward one. A free ball for the Privateers, see what they do here. Up high to Devaney. She lets one rip, that's out of bounds. But she uncorked one, couldn't quite find the cross shot she was looking for. Sophia Fredericks will check back in for the service. So this starting rotation, I believe, back into effect. Most optimal rotation for the Knights that they want tonight. A tip over the top gets snuffed out by the Knights. Williams will get a swing. An awkward position gets one over the top. Heavy block for the Knights. It's going to fall just out of bounds. So Wormuth and Simone there all the way. Just couldn't quite seal it straight down. Ball trickles out of play. That'll leave Weiss at the line for the service. There we go. I'm locked in. The girls are locked in. We're all locked in. A monster swing over the top gets dug up. Williams let all of that and some eat. Voice crack there. Simone will get a rip. That's going to be out of play. So 2 vicious swings back-to-back for the Knights do not lead to any points. Maritime's first lead of the game, if I'm not mistaken, coming into effect here, 11-10. A good service, drops awkwardly for the Knights. Simone will roll one over the top. Tipped over the top, snuffed out by the Knights. Straight down the middle for Wormuth. Not quite what she wanted. Simone will get a swing. She lets one rip. That gets dug up again. Teal out wide to Devaney. She drops one over the top. That gets snuffed out. So rally brewing here. Williams on the back door. That's one whistle well wide. 12-10. Maritime slowly pulling away here. Weiss with a line drive. That gets past well. Up top for Wormuth. She slaps one over the top for the kill. So she kills the rally and gets the point back for the Knights. So Simone back on the line for the service. her production down a little bit from last year, though she's only second year and still a very heavy aspect of this team. Awkward ball gets dropped to the top. Dug well by Fredericks. Pirro swings it over the top. Devaney gets a swing. That gets almost dug. So back-to-back swings from Maritime finds themselves with the point, and they're rewarded with the ball. So my previous thought, no longer. Ball gets shot well over the top. So Simone definitely not on pace to match her kills from last year, though she is still a very productive outside hitter and will be an even more important one next year when Janiyah Williams will no longer be with the team due to graduation, barring any extra years of eligibility I'm unaware of. Lima with the service. Drops one up and over the top, straight off the arms of Wiest. Service ace for the Knights. Some emotes and a tie score. And speaking of scores, the Lady Knights of MSMC have gone down 2-1 with 20 minutes to play on the road in Mount St. Vincent. So the ball passed around a little bit here. Teal gets one up top for Devaney. She lets one rip. That gets passed well. Oh, by DePiro. She's going to let one go. That gets dug. Back row to Wiest. She rolls one over the top. We'll try Pirro again. She finds the kill down the line. That wicked line shot coming back into effect. 14-13, the Knights find themselves the lead again. Knights relying heavily on their first-year outside hitter, Nicolette Pirro, today. Some sort of commiserating going on from the referees. Signals given. So we'll allow Lehman to get back into it. She drives one in deep. That's an awkward spot. That gets blocked. Should have been over the top by Descala. The tip from Teal finds the hands of Descala, and she gets herself a point back into the half of the Privateers. A low service dropped in there. Awkwardly pushed around. Devaney tries to roll one down the line. She's going to find it. Pavarini back to the service block. Maritime trailing by a point. Up high for Williams. Sweetest pie. Gets herself a waterfall and a kill. So the Knights maintain the lead. Seymour checks in. The service ace. Williams with a heavy swing, a line drive, finds itself into the floorboards. So the Knights still up here, 16-14 to score. And I was going to make the excuse that Vanessa Seymour and Mackenzie Warren have similar hairstyles. They simply do not. Just mistook the brunette hair. Ran on his side. Pirro with a chance. That gets deflected. Setters out. A joust to be had. Pirro wins it, though she was well into the net. So a fisherman grabbing up his trap, catches Pirro, and Maritime gets the ball back on an error. An awkward service pass, pushed around, going to be a free ball for the Privateers. Some miscommunication. I lost my train of thought. Wiest gets blocked. Seymour and Descala there all the way. Descala heating up. The senior snuffs it out. Pirro back to the line. Set one's hero looks to be set two's storyline. There we go. I think that works. So the Knights up 3. Pirro with the service. Another good serve. Gets passed well there. Wiest will get a chance. The lefty shoots one into the antenna. So the Knights looking to be the first to 20 in this slightly closer second set. 19-15. Drops in another good service. That gets passed. That tip gets snuffed up on the Knights. Scala drops one over the top. That tip gets snuffed out. Back door to Pavarini. She gets a swing. That gets passed. A tip over the top. That gets snuffed out. An attempted tip. That's 2 touches. That's going to be a point for the Knights. You can't touch the ball more than 2 times, otherwise it wouldn't be volleyball. So the Knights get that point back. 20-15 is your score. Timeout for the Privateers. Your Knights leading by 5 at the 60-second break. So I need a drink of water. You'll get me back in in a minute. There we go. So we're coming out of the timeout break here. The Knights resume their positions on the court. I'll be interrupted by a buzzer in just a second. I'm getting pretty good at that. So as a local broadcast, we usually have mostly friends and family from the East Coast tuning in, though I've been alerted there's some worldwide listeners, so shout out to my friends in Hawaii that are apparently spectating right now. If you're still in the broadcast, welcome in, guys. So Knights finding some momentum here. Descala gets herself a kill. So the senior's on fire. She gets, I don't know if that's quite a 4-ball, but a ball right on top of her head. Smokes it through a block, deflects down for a point. 21-5, the Knights up 6. Piro stands on the left side all by herself. A deep service, just a little bit too much on that one. So Eva Robles will check back in, take her position on the defensive side of the ball. The defensive specialist certainly finding herself a lot more playing time in the latter half of this season. Or excluding stats, more than I can remember from the start of the year. So Teal gets one up top for Weiss. Weiss tries a cross shot. That gets snuffed out. Simono get a chance. She lets one rip. That gets dug well. A roll shot from Pavarini finds itself into the back corner. So she nestles one into the floorboards. Maritime is not quite dead yet. We'll try it again. Unas Tisiadis on the line for the service. There we go. All right. I think I got that one pretty well. So back row swing for Williams. She whistles one out the back of the end zone. So some tragic news on the road. The Knights have gone down 3-1, your women's soccer team. Currently down 2 goals with 15 to play. So this is not a soccer broadcast, so I'll leave that to those broadcasters. Ava Descala with a heavy swing over the top. Gets deflected well into the side panel of the gym. So she finds herself another kill. The senior will get a break. Aubriana Boyce will check in here. She'll get herself a service. So 2 setters on the court. The Knights have not quite been running a 6-2, so I don't believe that's what's going on here. The pinch server, Boyce, finds herself a service ace off the error. 23-18, the Knights 2 points away from a second set win. But of course, for anyone of my experts or wonderful members of the team watching the broadcast afterwards, let me know if my information was incorrect on what sorts of formation you guys were on. So Weiss with a monstrous swing over the top the first year, getting herself a kill down the line. Some substitutions for the Knights. Teal with the service. She drops one in awkwardly. Seymour gets it up top. Simono get a swing. That gets dug well. Almost hit the roof. Seymour tried to take a swing on it, and she's not going to get it. So she hit the tape. 2 touches is called because you can't play it again, obviously. An unlucky break. Maritime has cracked 20 points. So they're only down 3. They're closing the gap. Teal again with the service. Passed well. Drops out wide to Simone. She lets one rip and puts it down the floorboards. Unasi Ciatis could not quite find that one. Simone blows up the volleyball and finds the Knights 1 point away from a second set win. Sophia Fredericks checks in far left of your screen. So back to an optimal rotation for Kellum and crew. They'll try and see this one through. Fredericks drops one in, passed well by the Privateers. An awkward one, punched over the top and found down for a kill. So I got a little caught off my breath. Wormuth blocked the tip attempt, came straight back to the Privateers and fell down for a point. So the Knights up 2-0. We'll get a little bit of a break. Don't go anywhere, guys. The Knights winning at the break. So we're back. The buzzer sounded off of the microphone while it was muted. Lots of dance moves from the Knights. As we are getting underway, the referees are just commiserating and checking lineups. Kayla Teal will start the ball on the left side. And we will be way into some more action here. So set 3, here we go. An awkward swing from Simone finds itself up and over the top. It's early on the Knights getting themselves in front off the deflection. So Sophia Fredericks onto the line for the Knights. Tall as possible, almost tall as possible front line for the Knights currently. Heavy block. Frightens Pavarini into swinging the ball almost into the hallway. So that's out of the back for a Knight point. Knights will double their advantage, and Fredericks will stand still alone on the service line. Drops one in over the top. Good pass for the Privateers. Pavarini gets another swing. That gets blocked straight down to the floor. Lavelle and Williams there all the way. So the blocking prowess of the Knights showing here early on in the third set. Always fun to watch a good defensive team. That's my favorite aspect of the game, is the blocking. Nothing better than snuffing out a good hitter. So Wiest takes a rip. That one falls out the back of the end zone. The Knights with an early lead here, up 4. So early and often, as they say, the Knights looking to continue their lead here. Fredericks with the service ace. An awkward pass in the back line gets the Knights up another point. Sophia Fredericks on a little bit of a run here to start the third set. The Knights looking for a clean sweep to get themselves to 7-4 in conference play and nestle themselves into a playoff position. Deep set to Pavarini. She lets one rip, and that's going to be a kill. Robles couldn't quite find the dig on the back line. So violent swing gets the Privateers back to the service line. Wiest with the ball. So the left-handed service underway in just a second. Gets the signal. Passed a little deep by the Knights. An awkward play over the top. Gets the ball there. An awkward roll over the top finds itself into the floor. Robles getting tagged again. Deep serve for the good call from someone. I could hear the out from here, so 6-2 is your score. Line drive just out the back of the court. Of course, as a men's player who is god-awful at passing, it is very difficult to figure out when and when you should not flail your arms at passes. Pavarini on the back door. Hits it into the Knights logo on the backside of the court. So more overswings from the Privateers. They're letting them eat, just not quite where they need to be. So Juliana Simone, another service here. Line drive low. Devaney tries to roll one over the top again. Her trusty looping ball not quite getting over the tape. So 4 touches called. Is the official call at least, though I think to the viewer it would be pretty easy to see that the ball just didn't get over the net. So Simone with another service. That's passed a little bit awkwardly. Devaney will get in the swing. She rolls one in again. That's awkward for the Knights, and that's going to fall down for a kill. So the ball trickled around. A free ball for the Privateers. See what they do with this. The setter is out. Devaney will get another swing. She rolls one over. Passed well enough by the Knights. Ball gets pushed over just in play. Passed a little long. Devaney again. Gets blocked. We'll try it again. Back row for Wiest. She's going to drop one in for a kill. So 2 attempts gets the point. And Lizzie Phillips stands alone on the line for the serve. Pirro tries to push one through, doesn't quite get it. Hammered it off the tape, and it did not fall where it needed to be. Phillips again. Ball hit a little bit too hard out the back of the end zone. So Aaron Lima, far right of your screen. The all-blue get-up will get the service. And the ball is going to fall down for a kill. Lima, the converted libero, started here as an outside hitter. Quite a spark plug, if I would say so myself, for my limited viewing time. An on-court leader with a wonderful set of arms. Great passer. So the Knights pass that. Williams takes a swing over the top. So she sidewinds one in. That's going to find some floorboards, and that'll warrant some substitutions. So Pirro, Warmoth, and Seymour all on the front line. 2 people I mistook earlier for each other, standing right next to each other. destructive block straight on the line. I couldn't quite find the adjective for it. So a huge swing from Devaney on the back row, or Pavarini on the back row, gets just straight up killed by Warmouth. Snuffing out the back row swing. Warmouth says no more of that. So another one. Warmouth gets another one, but it gets called for, I forget what that symbol is. I think Pavarini jumped at the wrong spot, or she was too high above the net. I forget which is the call. So another service from Williams finds itself into the nylon. But wow, was that one hell of a block. If I can use some broadcast appropriate expletives. Wow. Not often do you see back row swings get killed the way that just did. So Devaney swings one straight into the nylon. That's going to give the Knights the ball back. Kid Wonder to the line. Nicolette Pirro gets herself the rock. Set one hero. Set one demon for the Privateers. She sets herself. Drops one in. That gets passed. Up top for Wiest. She takes a rip, and that's out of bounds. So the Knights women have gotten a goal back. They are down 1 with 2 minutes left. Just for the updates on soccer, while we have a little bit of a break in between the point tier and volleyball. So Pirro again. That's one rip. That gets passed well enough. Up top for Wiest. That one gets deflected and down. Pollock couldn't quite find the dig. Pirro gets subbed out for Robles. I've never been quite told if you're supposed to roll that R or not, though I talked to her on occasion. She's never corrected me. So a shoulder dig from Robles on the back line almost found its way back over the net. Couldn't quite find it. Seymour pushed it a little bit too far. So Unasti Ciadis gets herself another service, hits it straight into the bottom of the tape. So I get her name right, she gets the service wrong. So the Knights find themselves still with an advantage. Lavelle gets subbed in, and Isabella Montemagno gets subbed in. So not a super frequent face. Good to see some new numbers on the court. So the pastel pink shoes, and Montemagno will serve the ball. Loops one in deep. Passed well by the Privateers. Wiest gets snuffed out. Simone gets a swing, and that's going to fall down for a point. So Montemagno gets the service, and she snuffs out the tip. Finds itself in for a Mount point. Knights looking strong and consistent here through this last set, through this entire game even. Looking very confident going into the playoffs. Heavy swing from Pavarini, gets trickled around, back and over the net. Knights ball. Ball gets passed deep. Simone will just take a swing straight off the tape. That's going to fall into the floorboards for a point. So Screw going for any free balls. We take kills. The Knights up 9 points going into the 60-second break here. And with there being 60 seconds, that lines up almost perfectly with the women's soccer game. So I'll give you guys some updates while we're sitting around. Playing on the road in Mount St. Vincent. I don't quite know where their school's located. Somewhere down towards the city, I think. It's got quite an impressive looking facility from the looks of it. It's pretty catchy Brazilian music being played in the gymnasium. Don't know if you could hear it through my microphone. And the Knights have conceded in the 90th minute. So 4-2 will be your final score. Mount St. Vincent found a deflection. So the miracle season from Coach Dolan and his girls who have fought so valiantly all year comes to a heartbreaking end on the road in Mount St. Vincent. So we're off and going back into the volleyball game. Montemagno gets a good service into the back, so error's going to keep her on the line. 19-9 is your score. The Knights looking to run away with this last set comfortably. Ball trickled around again. Weiss finds herself up over the top. That gets dug well. Simone will get another chance. She rips one. That gets dug. Weiss gets another chance. She rolls one over the top. That gets dug again. Simone with another chance. She drops one over the top for the kill. 20-9 is your score. The Knights finding themselves into a win. Almost. So needing 5 more for the match conclusion. Montemagno with another service deep. It's bounced around. Weiss gets herself another chance. Rolls one over the top. Pollock with a clean dig. Lavelle with a great swing, but out the back of the end zone. Lavelle, for usual, frequent flyer of this lineup, not getting as much time today. Warmouth getting quite a bit of time. I thought she was about to sub back in. She subbed in for Montemagno and then got subbed out for Lima. Teal on the line for the service. Pollock with an awkward pass gets trickled around and pushed over the net somehow. Teal the service set out wide to Weiss. That gets pushed around by the Knights. Another, almost a free ball, gets swung on and deflected. Pavarini with a swing and a kill block. Simone and Lavelle there all the way. So the Knights' monstrous wall continuing to be pungent and stingy here, as Coach Kellum has her girls drilled to perfection. So Sophia Frederick's back on the line. Weiss gets deflected. Setter's out. A free ball to be pushed over. Robles tries to get it. Couldn't get her platform right. So the Knights still up 10. The Privateers will get the ball back. Weiss will be on the line by herself. Line driving in the back. Gets passed awkwardly by the Knights and going to fall down for a point. So miscommunication for the Knights is going to result in an error and a point for Maritime. A line drive gets passed well this time. Up top for Williams. She rips one off the tape. It's not going to quite find its way over the nets. So an attempted kick save from the Knights went awry because no hands were touched on the Maritime side. So it was a 4-touch call. This Maritime is down 8 points now. Another line drive brought in. Shanked into the stands. Watch out. So an unlucky break here for the Knights. Kellum elected to not take a timeout, as you most likely would not do when you're up 7. Knights going to just get themselves reinvigorated on the court. Trying to figure it out any way they can. They get the ball over. Up top for Pavarini. She swings one. The Knights get a little bit of a free ball. Williams slips one over the top, and that's going to find itself for a kill. So the Knights getting themselves up off the mat after some awkward and unlucky breaks there. Pirro checks back in, today's superstar. Ball is trickling around here. A miscommunication and a point for Maritime. So Pirro and Kenny had communicated on something and then miscommunicated on something, and the ball fell between the two of them. So only them and God truly knew what intentions were supposed to be had. Dropped over the top for Lavelle. She swings straight through it. Straight through the block. She says, "Don't even try me." A kill straight into the floorboards, almost adjacent with the floorboards. So Lavelle's super swing puts us 23-15 at an advantage. Jump serve dropped in there. Pavarini swings one over the top. That gets snuffed out by Lima. Back row for Simone. She's going to find a kill. So match point here for the Knights. Always love to hear that. Looking to get themselves one more conference win on the year. The last conference game of the year. So on decision day, the Knights looking to wrap this up. Lima with the service. Pass awkwardly. That's not going to quite find itself anywhere. So the Knights are going to win this game. 25-15 is your final score of set number 3. 3-0 is your score on sets. Your Mount St. Mary College Knights, hopefully playoffs clinched, get themselves a W here on the 5th of November on decision day. So we'll wait for the remainder of statistics to find themselves in here, as the Knights should be into a playoff spot. Don't think those will refresh until later, although I don't know. Well, you guys still have me. I can check the composite schedule to see if there's other games in progress. All right, so the truly important game just started. SJB, St. Joe's Brooklyn, and St. Joe's Long Island. So that game's going on right now. So you and all of us and me, I apologize, I meant to say me and all of you, will figure out the final results of the playoff standings later. So in the meantime, this has been a blast. Been one heck of a Skyline season. You won't lose me for now. You'll see me on Saturday. So as I'm basically losing my trains of thought as they set everything up for the basketball team taking over, I've been Bob Houck. Thank you so much for making me a part of your Wednesday evening. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side.